Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Thank God at least one of the brands remembered that there was a pay-per-view called the Elimination Chamber coming at us this Sunday, as Smackdown Live did a pretty good job at setting the table for this weekend's pay-per-view, and we are going to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Smackdown Live review. Let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much for joining me again on the channel this week, as it's time to bring the hammer down on Smackdown Live. But before we do that, we need to take a moment to celebrate the life of Pedro Morales. It was announced today on SmackDown Live that Pedro Morales has passed away. I was so busy all day and I have not been on social media that this news completely passed me by, and I was taken by surprise when the graphic was shown at the start of tonight's SmackDown Live. Pedro Morales was the WWF's first ever Triple Crown winner. He was the WWF champion after defeating Ivan Koloff for over 1,000 days, nearly 3 years on top of the business. Being one of the biggest names ever of his generation, a large following in the Northeast, especially here in New York City, where we have a large Latin American community in and around all of New York City, and Puerto Rico is where he is from, and is huge fans of their hometown guy, Pedro Morales, an Intercontinental Champion and also a World Tag Team Champion with his partner, which was Bob Backlund, for those of you who may not remember the 1980s as clearly as I do. And he was not the most braggadocious superstar, really. He was not over the top like a Hulk Hogan or a superstar Billy Graham. He actually fit the mold more of a Bob Backlund. He was much more laid back and talked more with his fists. And Pedro Morales, I cannot believe another wrestler this year already has gone up to the great ring in the sky. Pedro Morales, fantastic superstar, WWE Hall of Famer without a doubt. He will be missed, and my thoughts and prayers go out to the whole Morales family and every one of us fans that feel the sting of losing a guy, the caliber and the legend that is Pedro Morales. Now that that somber note is out of the way, let's get on to talking about tonight's festivities on SmackDown Live. The show tonight was okay. It was not like they came in here and knocked it out of the park. They didn't strike out on all counts, just like Monday Night Raw always does on every single Monday night when we bring the hammer down on that piece of shit. But SmackDown Live, with its consistently better programming, as we've all become accustomed to, but they definitely did a great job. They, like I said, remembered the Elimination Chamber is Sunday. They haven't been doing very much to promote anything about WrestleMania, where Raw is all about WrestleMania, 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 and they threw together 2 matches just to have Raw represented on the card, which is just ridiculous. And I'm still waiting to hear of any more matches that we are going to have. I think we only have about 5 matches announced as of this point, and we are about 5 days away from the pay-per-view, so there's some good old traditional WWE planning at its finest, right, you guys? But if you want to talk about the way they plan things, look at how they planned everything that is going on in the women's division, and what they did to Becky Lynch last night is only the tip of the iceberg that is known as Charlotte Flair, that is floating our way to sink us all like the Titanic, sinking our hopes and dreams of a Rousey versus Lynch one-on-one WrestleMania main event. Listen, I'm not going to come down shitting too hard on Charlotte. We talked about it last night. She is unnecessary. She is unwanted in this match, and it's just clearly because Vince McMahon and his goons in the WWE machine don't have faith in the fact that Becky Lynch is a big enough star to main event WrestleMania, and that's kind of disrespectful to Becky Lynch, and we went through that in a whole different way last night. But let's flip the script just a little bit and step outside of the asshole box that I keep myself so confined in here and am so overly critical of everything. And let's just take a look at it for what it's worth tonight. How great was it to see Charlotte Flair just actually being who she's supposed to be? She's not coming out and shaking hands and smiling pretty for the camera and kissing babies and it being an inspiration to little girls and all this shit that used to make me want to vomit every time Charlotte Flair stepped foot on a television screen. What we have right now is Charlotte Flair being a Flair. She's the arrogant, cocky, self-entitled bitch who's going to get what she wants no matter what. She knows the company sees her as the franchise player in the women's division, and she is going to use everything in her power to stay on top. And that's something that you can respect coming out of a villain. And when your last name is Flair, and the blood that pumps through your veins is the same blood that pumps through the veins of one of the greatest villains wrestling has ever seen, it's a natural fit. It's a natural selection to go this way with Charlotte Flair. And as cringy as it was, because she's not, we all know she's not the best at delivering promos, but this wasn't her worst outing, and I think it's because it came from a more genuine place of being the heel in this scenario. And though I don't agree with her being part of everything going on, you have to appreciate the change in Charlotte Flair and welcome it with open arms. And hopefully it doesn't get too out of control. And there's a lot of good things that can come out of this. Everybody's only going to love Becky more based off of what the WWE is doing here. My biggest complaint with the whole thing is that it had to be done by Vince McMahon. Like, this is just something that could have organically made its way to the road to WrestleMania. But here we are. We're not going to complain too much about it. Charlotte Flair came out tonight. We had no sign of Becky Lynch whatsoever. She's not yet ready to play that Matt Hardy role where she's going to be suspended or removed from the company and is going to keep showing up unwanted many different places. Just like as I predicted last night, you think for 1 minute that Ric Flair birthday party's going down without the last kicker coming out to kick some nature ass, you're out of your mind. And that's probably the one and only sole reason that they planned that whole segment in the first place. And it might give us some great moments on the road to WrestleMania. It might give us a great WrestleMania triple threat main event match for the Women's Championship. So, I mean, let's try not to be such assholes about it, all right? This is what we're getting. Let's try to enjoy what we're getting, right? That's what we got to try to do. And you got to try to do the same thing when you're talking about the Women's Elimination Chamber, although it is a whole lot harder. We also covered this last night. I'm not a big fan of them crowning the champions for the first time ever in an Elimination Chamber. I would have much rather them go through a standard tournament route, give us multiple matches, have it last over a couple of weeks, and then crown the new champions at a WrestleMania. That seems a little bit more apropos for something of this nature, but this is what we're getting. And what's the other complaint you could throw in there? Well, there's really only 2 legit tag teams in this whole thing. One of them is Sasha Banks and Bayley. The other one is the Iconics. Everyone else was just somewhat thrown together on a whim, either upon their arrival to the WWE roster or because the WWE just doesn't know what else to do. That's why we're getting Carmella and Naomi. They recently put together Nia Jax and Tamina, the absolute worst tag team that the women's division has seen. And that's saying something considering some of the women's tag teams that have come through this thing in the history of the WWE. And I'm going way back to the Jumping Bomb Angels and shit. Alright? It's bad. It's even worse than I could have ever imagined. And I imagined it being pretty good, but it didn't turn out that way. We got the Riot Squad, who were not the Riot Squad until they came to Monday Night Raw, and they have not just been a tag team. They haven't really been gelling as a tag team over the last year until only recently. And while I am enjoying that aspect of it, I'm hopeful that Ruby Riott will stay removed from the situation, and we will just let them grow and flourish that way from this moment on, whether they win the tag team championships or not. This is the direction they should go with the Riot Squad. Not really a legit tag team. The Iconics have been the Iconics since the minute I've seen both Billie Kay and Peyton Royce step foot in NXT. This is what they've been doing. So they've been at this for a couple of years. They have not been proven in the ring. They haven't been given a chance to really do anything in the ring. And this is their chance to do such a thing. They had this triple threat match tonight for the SmackDown Live participants. We had Carmella and Naomi versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and also, excuse me, the Iconics. The Iconics were a non-factor. And I hated this about this match. I understand they're playing the prissy girls and they're doing this whole, you know, I'm better than you thing, and they're not going to wrestle, I guess, because they're scared of what they're seeing. Like, you just go in there and bust somebody in the face, Peyton. Like, Peyton Royce is a fantastic wrestler. Billie Kay can, you know, she needs a little bit of improvement. She can get there. But Peyton Royce is the star of that team right now. And I would have liked to have actually seen them compete at a much higher level. And this match was actually very good for a women's tag team match. You want to put this and play this side by side with the Raw Triple Threat women's tag team match last night for the Elimination Chamber last entry spot. It's night and day. It's night and day. These girls came out there to work tonight. Even Mandy Rose didn't botch all that much. Naomi looks fantastic as ever. Some of the spots in this thing were dead on, balls accurate, and it was refreshing to see the girls go out there. These 6 girls actually looked like they gave a shit about being in the Elimination Chamber. And I enjoyed the matchup for the most part. And Carmella and Naomi get the win here. Getting the win, much like last night, means absolutely nothing. But at least you didn't lose, because if you lose, like Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, you will now be entered first in the Elimination Chamber, and that is now a set deal. And we are going to kick off the Elimination Chamber this Sunday for the women with Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Absolution, the former Absolution. And while on paper that doesn't probably get you excited, it's going to be in the chamber. Something's got to happen, right? Something good's got to go down. The girls didn't do too bad in the Elimination Chamber last year. I think having this, one of the problems with having the tag team division for the women being born essentially in the Elimination Chamber is there's too many bodies. There's too many bodies, there's too many variables, and there's too much other outside shit going on in an Elimination Chamber to truly give the title win a real sense of prestige. Whereas if we would have seen all these teams trying to fight and scratch and claw their way to the finals of a tournament to crown the first ever Women's Tag Team Championships, it would have been much more fulfilling to the girls as well as to us as fans. But like I said, this is the road we're on. I don't expect this match to be a barn burner. I don't expect it to be match of the night. I don't even expect it to be good. But you better get used to seeing it, because whatever the finish of this match is on Sunday is going to be etched in time with the WWE. You know how they love to show their history, and this is a big moment in history. Hopefully it doesn't go to the biggest disappointments in this matchup. The team of Nia Jax and Tamina. Again, I don't understand why the Iconics just took themselves out of this matchup and decided to watch the other 4 girls go in there and finish everything. That was a little bit annoying to me, because they're better than that. And I think you would want to win that match, or want to show your fight or your fire or how you're hungry to win here, but I guess they didn't care that much. Maybe they didn't want to break a nail, huh? Maybe they needed to save these outfits for Sunday. Maybe they don't got backup outfits and they don't want to get these ones too dirty, so they're not going to wrestle too much. They don't want to sweat them up. Maybe there's no way to wash your clothes from here till fucking Sunday. I don't know what the reason is, but for whatever it is, I didn't appreciate that too much. We had a little bit more bad news tonight as we were made privy to the knowledge of Mustafa Ali being injured and being taken out of the Elimination Chamber this Sunday, which is terrible. One of the biggest selling points for me to you guys, even just last night, I said Mustafa Ali being in this thing, it's fantastic. It's one of the great things about the field that they assembled for the Elimination Chamber. And now that's being removed. He's gone. He cut a very good selfie promo talking about how this isn't the end for him. Samoa Joe tried to take him out. Randy Orton tried to kick his face off, but he's still standing. This isn't the end, and he'll be back. Which I certainly hope it'll be sooner than later. And then after this promo, not only was I disappointed in all hell that Mustafa Ali was taken out of the match, but we were now being set to see the debut of McMahons TV, brought to you by McMuffins and McNuggets and McDonald's itself. I didn't give two shits about any of this, but this is one of these double-edged sword situations, because as much as I hate The Miz and Shane McMahon as a tag team, I love the Usos almost to that same level. I love the Usos as much as I hate the McMiz Nugget tag team. Alright? So I have to watch this. I can't just fast forward it. I can't skip it, even though I was about 20 minutes behind. I couldn't skip it. I had to listen and see what the Usos had to say, and I was not let down. The Usos brought what the Usos bring, which is intensity and great mic work. They wanted to play the tag team game. I didn't know what the fuck the tag team game was, but this should have actually been more like a brothers game, I guess, or a twin game, because they were just asking each other random shit. What's my favorite color? Blue. What's my favorite food? Chicken. What's my favorite this? Blah. Alright, now obviously, we're not idiots. We know this is a TV show. They wrote this, it's rehearsed and whatever. But then you got The Miz and Shane McMahon trying to pull the same shit, but they're whispering the answer to each other. Hey Shane, what's my favorite color? Blue. And what's my favorite food? Quiche. Quiche? And then the Usos are like, Quiche, are you talking about my dad? Don't be talking about my dad, bro. And he's like, no, we're not talking about your dad. And it's just like all of this stuff was just happening, and all of this craziness was being said. And by the end of this thing, when the Usos simultaneously knocked the McTeeth down the McNugget tag team of the world's throat, I was very fulfilled. But I also do not expect the WWE to give the Usos the win this Sunday. But that's a story for the preview and predictions show, which will be coming at you guys this Friday. I really did not care about this. You know, Miz TV, over the last year, maybe more, has become nothing more than a venue for the WWE to advertise more to you guys. It's just a way for them to hype up other programs on the USA Network that feature WWE superstars in some way, shape, or form. That's what Miz TV has become. It's just another commercial segment for the most part. Although it did make me chuckle here and there, it was pretty much cringeworthy on Miz and Shane's part of the whole thing and didn't do anything to get me excited about Sunday. It just made me mad that I had to sit through a Miz TV segment. McMiz. Give me a break. Daniel Bryan came out and cut a promo saying that everybody wants him to lose the WWE Championship. I don't want him to lose the WWE Championship. I love Daniel Bryan and the new Daniel Bryan and his new hemp WWE Championship title with the beautiful wooden plates and the aqua turquoise stones or whatever the fuck it is. It's beautiful. Everything that Daniel Bryan is doing is beautiful. The way he assaults the crowd, the way he insults every single one of us at home, he is on fire right now. You want to talk about somebody literally being on fire, you can't look any further than Daniel Bryan. The guy has embraced his role as this new age hippie madman who wants to save the earth, Captain Planet 2.0, and I'm into it. I'm into it, and I enjoy every single thing that Daniel Bryan says. Anything that comes out of his mouth, it's pure gold right now. He is on that level. And if you missed it, it's one of the things you gotta just go back and listen to Daniel Bryan, and it'll be worth your time. And he'll get you excited. He'll get you excited. Did you want to see somebody punch him in the face? Or if you're like me, you want to see him go out and save the world. And it's magical. And this was how we led into tonight's grand event, which was another Gauntlet match. We had the New Day interrupt Daniel Bryan, cut him off. They went to the commercial break as Big E took out a big tube of meat. He had a big giant tube of meat. Okay. More food jokes, more phallic jokes, more New Day shit, right? But we're not going to go down that road because The WWE proved to you guys and proved to me that everything that I've been saying about the New Day is 100% correct. Look at what Kofi Kingston did tonight outside of being part of the New Day and the tag team division and all this other nonsense that they make the New Day be part of. You took an 10-plus year veteran of the business. You put him in there with some of the greatest talent you have on the roster today, and he proved himself to be as good as each and every one of the people in the ring he was with tonight. Fantastic showing from Kofi Kingston. After this match, you should be calling him Kofi Kickout. You couldn't keep this man down. It's as if being last in the Elimination Chamber match this Sunday was the only thing in his whole entire life Kofi Kingston has ever wanted to do. It's not about being the WWE Champion. It's about he needs to be last in this match because the guy just wouldn't say die. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And the best part about it is with each opponent, you immediately gave Kofi Kingston no chance to win. Didn't you? You saw Kofi Kingston in the ring starting this gauntlet match off with Daniel Bryan, and you said to yourself, well, Daniel Bryan's going to win this, and that'll be the end of it, and we're going to go on to the next competitor in the gauntlet. But you, my friends, just like me for having that foolish thought, would be wrong. And I would never be happier to be wrong. WWE gave this match so much room to breathe. It's a gauntlet match, much like Monday Night Raw. You knew you were going to go somewhere near an hour because you're going to have 6 or 5 separate matchups, right? So you have to allot the perfect amount of time. You have to give it enough time to feel good, right? I feel like this gauntlet match actually was even better than the Seth Rollins gauntlet match from Monday Night Raw. And maybe that could be attributed to Kofi Kingston outperforming Seth Rollins by going deeper in the gauntlet than Seth Rollins did. Seth Rollins making it only 3 guys deep. Kofi Kingston going through almost everybody until AJ Styles, which was, I think, his fourth or fifth competitor. We'll go down that in just a minute. But Kofi Kingston, man, you can't say enough good things about this guy tonight. Notice you didn't see any pancakes around the ring during the match. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe he just felt like his old self because he wasn't being distracted by Francesca and unicorns and Fun Time USA, right? The guy was focused. This guy came out there and went toe-to-toe with Daniel Bryan and actually picked up the win. And this went a good 10 solid minutes, maybe more. He was wrestling Daniel Bryan for quite some time before Kofi Kingston would counter Daniel Bryan and hit the trouble in paradise out of nowhere, man, just like Randy Orton would. And we'll get to that in a second as well. But Kofi Kingston surprising the world, getting the 3 count and pinning the champion in this gauntlet match, moving on to the next opponent, who would be Jeff Hardy. Once again, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Jeff Hardy, multiple-time TLC competitor, former WWE champion, multiple-time tag team champion, intercontinental champion. He's going to go in there, and this is going to be the end for Kofi Kingston. But once again, my friends, you would be wrong, as Kofi Kingston would go head-to-head with Jeff Hardy once again. Even though he was just put through hell with Daniel Bryan, he found himself on top of this thing as Jeff Hardy would hit a flying crossbody. Kofi Kingston hit a flying crossbody. Jeff Hardy would roll him up and try to get the pin, but Kofi Kingston would kick out and then hit the SOS on Jeff Hardy and get the pinfall and move on to what is surely going to be Kofi Kingston's exit this time, as that infamous horn would sound from the distance and the rhinoceros would roar as Samoa Joe made his way to the ring. And you know now Kofi Kingston's night is over. That's it. There's no getting through the Samoan submission machine. It's just not going to happen. Kofi Kingston, thanks for coming. You did great tonight. You were being the best impersonation of Seth Rollins we have seen up until this point. It's a fantastic night for you. Thanks for coming. Here's your papers. Go have a nice time in catering in the back. Boom. That's what we all thought. Every one of you thought it. This was Samoa Joe. But Kofi Kingston, despite all logic, despite all the odds, found himself the victor over Samoa Joe. And they were paying homage to Rowdy Roddy Piper and Bret the Hitman Hart's finish from WrestleMania 8, which I just happened to recently be watching, by the way. Hint, hint, on some future programs that are coming your way. But I enjoyed this, and I hated the fact that Samoa Joe was pinned by a guy who just went through 2 matches after Samoa Joe, this killing machine, came out fresh and ready to rip Kofi's head off. Kofi Kingston wormed his way through this thing, fought the best he could, found himself locked up in a sleeper hold, would climb up the turnbuckles and turn it into a surprise flash pinfall, getting the victory over Samoa Joe. Enraging the Beast to the point where he would continue his attack. He would lock on the Coquina Clutch outside onto Kofi Kingston. After the match was already over, Kofi Kingston now has to go on further as AJ Styles music hits the arena and he comes out. He starts beating up Samoa Joe. And then he goes into the ring to have his match with Kofi Kingston, who has now beaten 3 of the biggest names in professional wrestling. All for the chance to be last in the Elimination Chamber. AJ Styles, being AJ Styles, walked into the ring and gave Kofi Kingston a chance to just walk away. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You can go on. Just go. Just go. Right? I'm AJ Styles. I'm phenomenal. You don't have to do this, Kofi. You can go in the back, Kofi. Kofi Kingston wasn't having it. This guy, after everything he went through, clawed his way back to his feet and swolled up and got in the face of the former WWE champion, telling him, "You can't tell me to leave. This is my moment. This is my chance." And just was getting in AJ Styles' face. And then he mushed him. Nobody likes to get mushed. Right? And AJ Styles still was holding back just enough. Just out of respect. And probably because of what Kofi Kingston had just went through. But Kofi Kingston would push it just a little bit too far. As he would push AJ Styles once again. AJ Styles would come back on the attack. And they would have a great match. At this point, Kofi Kingston is approaching the 1 hour mark as he is battling AJ Styles. And while his clock is ticking, so is the clock for SmackDown Live. And this match is just going and going. And Kofi just will not stay down. And we're at 9:58. And we still got one more match to go after we have a victor here. Now, I'm expecting Kofi Kingston to win. I'm thinking, hey, he got this far. AJ Styles probably should have put him out already. And with the fact that there's only 1 minute left and the last guy is Randy Orton, all I could think of is, well, Kofi Kingston, having gone through 4 grueling, incredible matches, coming out the victor at every turn, is going to end up being RKO'd just as we go off the air, and Randy Orton will have the advantage at the Elimination Chamber. That was my train of thought. But the WWE, in typical fashion, flips the script from what I would traditionally think, and they gave the victory to AJ Styles, which is nothing to be mad about. It's nothing we can complain about. Kofi Kingston just went through over an hour of brutal competition and beat 3 of the best in the world, and then was bested by the phenomenal AJ Styles before all was said and done. Nothing to complain about. And then everything else that I assumed was going to happen, happened, because what else can you do with 1 minute left in the show and another match to pull off before you have to go off the air? I feel like they cut it a little close. Maybe some of the match went a little longer than it was supposed to. I felt like Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston were wrestling for a very long time. The same with Kofi and AJ, especially after everything else he had been through. This was a great Gauntlet match. I enjoyed every minute of it. How can you complain when you get 5 rapid-fire matches, one after the other, each match featuring one of the biggest names in the world of professional wrestling, if not 2? I was actually looking forward to some of the possibilities of a particular dream match, like seeing Samoa Joe in the ring with a Randy Orton one-on-one, with something like this at stake would have been interesting. And I have a feeling that we would have seen the exact same Gauntlet match go down almost the exact same way had Mustafa Ali still been involved. It's as if Kofi Kingston was playing 2 parts tonight. You are going to take Mustafa Ali's place and play the part of Seth Rollins in a Gauntlet match. And he did a fantastic job. This show went off the air in the eyes of Randy Orton, as we are set up now for a very good Elimination Chamber match. After tonight, how could you sleep on Kofi Kingston? And what if we get to Sunday and Kofi's too banged up to go on, and then they put in Big E as a substitute? Or they go with Xavier to give a fresh man, because they're viewing it as if one wins, we all win, which is a great way for a faction to look at things. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the end of the show, and they actually got me excited to see what we're going to get at the Elimination Chamber this Sunday for the WWE Championship match. I was excited about everything else at the Elimination Chamber, but everything else, we'll talk about that much more this Friday on the preview and prediction show for the Elimination Chamber. I'm just glad that they cared. I'm glad that they cared. Like we said at the beginning of this thing, last night on Raw, all they talked about was WrestleMania. WrestleMania. Oh, and by the way, Ruby's going to fight Ronda, and, we're going to do this thing with the Intercontinental Championship, by the way. Everything else will be all from SmackDown, I guess. And that's fine with me, because Raw sucks, and SmackDown Live could at least make me have a decent Tuesday night. It wasn't anywhere near watching an NXT event or something of that nature, but I appreciate when they're at least trying. And SmackDown Live, as always, is at least trying. We didn't see any Double J, Jeff Jarrett nonsense, right? We didn't see any Lucha House Party bananas going on. We just got some great wrestling. A full hour of fantastic wrestling with some of the best in the world. And the first hour being given mostly to the women's division, and I'm alright with it. Thank you guys so much for checking out tonight's SmackDown Live review for this Tuesday, February the 12th, 2019. Just 5 days away at this point from the Elimination Chamber. One of my favorite events. It's always been one of my favorite events. I attended the very first Elimination Chamber, which was held at the Survivor Series in Madison Square Garden. And ever since then, maybe it's because I was there for the inaugural bout, maybe it's just because it's one of the fucking coolest things they ever came up with. It's always been a very special match to me. I actually put it right up there with like the Hell in a Cell. It's one of the coolest concepts ever devised in the world of professional wrestling. One of the most dangerous and lethal matches in all of professional wrestling. It has undergone a slight change in its aesthetic. And myself personally, I enjoy the dome style Elimination Chamber, other than this, Elimination Cube they got going on. But be that as it may, this is what we're getting, and I am looking forward to some of the stuff we are going to see this Sunday night. The thing I'm looking forward the most is to spending the weekend once again with you guys, as we are hot off the heels of the Royal Rumble. I feel like the Royal Rumble was yesterday, guys. And now we are on the doorstep of the very next WWE event, and it's just going by like a blur. And you don't want to miss it. And in order to make sure you don't miss anything, you got to make sure that you become the newest member of the Sledgehammer family and be the newest member of the Sledgehammer Club by smashing that subscribe button right now. And if you enjoyed today's show in any way, if I made you laugh, if I made you smile, if I made you nod your head like this, if I made you go like this, or if I made you go like this, or any other combination of those maneuvers, hit that like button right now because you know you had a good time with us here on Sledgehammer TV, the home of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, the one and only place to go on YouTube when you want your wrestling bullshit free. Sledgehammer TV is the place to be. Thank you guys, and as always, don't forget to share this video all over social media with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, no matter where they are, especially if they feel a little bit more blue than red on a weekly basis. This can be their new hub for all things pro wrestling, and it takes you to bring them here so that we can continue to climb up to that 2,000 sub mark. We are so nicely over 1,200. I love every single one of you. 12,030. I'm sorry, 12,000. I wish 12,000. 1,237 sledgeheads as of this recording, and I couldn't be prouder to have assembled this family for you guys, and I love how active you guys are in my comment section. Make sure you continue that by getting down in that comment section right now. Let me know what you thought about tonight's SmackDown Live, what you thought about tonight's review, or what you thought about anything. If you thought about flowers today, let me know you thought about some flowers. If you thought about having a beer, maybe, you know, tell me what beer you thought about having. Maybe I'll try it myself. Who knows? Who knows? Just tell me whatever you want. Just light up that comment section like you guys always do. Finally, before we say goodbye, we have to say, go get your book. Go get your free book. It's free. It's absolutely free. Why wouldn't you want something that's free? And if you've already signed up for this very same Audible trial that I am offering to you from somebody else, take this link, write it down, audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv, and hand it out. Hand it out to people on the street. Say, hey, you guy, take this piece of paper. Go to this link. You can get a free book. All you got to do is sign up. It's not going to cost you a dime. And you're going to support one of the best wrestling shows on all of YouTube. So go to audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv right now for yourself if you don't already have Audible. And pick your free book. You could pick a wrestling book, science fiction, self-help, there's language. There's so many genres to choose from to fill your ear holes with knowledge or entertainment or whatever it is that you want. Audible has a book that speaks to you to fit what you're waiting to hear. So go pick up your free book and your 30-day trial right now at audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv. Cancel at any time before the 30 days is up, and you still get to keep that book for life. You could listen to it on the train, you could listen to it on the shitter, you could listen to it in your living room, on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, whatever you want to do. Just get it from audibletrial.com/sledgehammertv right now. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to get creative, trying to do different crazy bits for that Audible commercial to try to not be just like everybody else asking you guys to get your 30-day free book. But you got to go do it, man. Go do it. And let me know what book you decided to pick up tonight. That is going to do it, my friends. My name, as you already know, is Nick Nightmare, and this is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, and the Wrestling God of Thunder. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, and the most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. Thank you guys once again. We will see you all week long for the best professional wrestling coverage anywhere on YouTube, and that's right here, and you know it. That, my friends, is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Chamber.